Hey everyone, welcome to the Pulse Lap, the weekly podcast for Pulse Autosport. We are an eco-friendly, green, and vegan sim racing team in iRacing, and here we will share our post-race recaps, pre-race thoughts, and talk about various topics within the sim racing and vegan communities. We'd like to thank Vivo Life, Clean Cause, the Vegan Vanity Fair, and Black Hatchet for their support and enthusiasm for our team. I'm Stephen Carlisle, and with me today is Patrick Byrne, and our host from the Vegan Vanity Fair, Carolina Castillo.
Thank you. Welcome to our first episode of the Pulse Lap. First off, let's talk about this past weekend's events at Bristol Motor Speedway. On Thursday, the both of you ran the iRacing NASCAR Truck Series and scored top 10 finishes.
In my race, I finished third. It was actually a really good finish. I ended up hitting the wall and earning 6 incident points. I believe towards the beginning of the race, first few laps, there was a huge incident, and I managed to avoid it for the most part, but I think I clipped another truck, and that gave me 4 incident points, which really, it didn't hurt my truck, but didn't really help us either.
Yeah, and my race, I finished 8th. I think I started 10th that time. But it was an okay race. Couldn't really make any progress. Everyone was just holding the high line most of the time around the track. Wasn't any real major incidents. Had some long green flag runs. It was an okay race, but definitely wanted a higher finish than that.
And on Sunday, you were able to improve those results by finishing first and second in the iRacing NASCAR B Series.
Yeah, I was able to hold off Patrick at the end. 4-lap shootout we had. It was the best car we've had all year. It was really stable. Was good on the long runs. There was a period of time there when I stayed out during a caution just to get the lead back from Patrick because I knew he was going to pit and take tires. So I was able to run a good amount of laps on a set of tires without too much of a fall off. There was quite a big wreck early on, which kind of put me in the position to take the lead. I know 2 drivers in front of me kind of got caught up in it, and they couldn't really recover from it. But overall, it was a great finish for both of our cars, and glad I could finally get a win this year.
Yeah, from my point of view, I was pushing the car way too hard, so that's why I had to pit. When Steven didn't, I had to really focus on conserving my tires more, and it ended up costing me the win. At the end there, I had newer tires, so did Steven, so we were both really going for it. And right on that first lap, I was right at his bumper, and I could have, nudged him a little bit, pushed him down the track and passed him, but that wouldn't have been a nice thing to do. I know Steven wouldn't do that to me, so let him have it. He hit the wall about 2 laps after that, with 2 laps to go, and all I thought in my head was, I could pass him, the win is mine, and I wasn't close enough to actually get to him and pass him, so Steven kept the lead and won the race.
Yeah, at the last 3 laps there, you were getting pretty close to me, so I pushed it a bit too hard and got into the wall coming out of 2. Luckily, it didn't slow me down too much, even though the car did pick up quite a big push there. I thought you were really going to be able to get to me, but I just dug down and kept it in front.
So next week, the truck race is at Eldora for some dirt racing. Patrick, you had some success there a few weeks back. Do you think you'll be able to keep up this performance?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the trucks on dirt. It's more of a finesse game than actually going fast, especially with the trucks, because they have no weight in the rear, over the rear tires. So every little motion you make with the gas pedal, it'll either understeer the car on the wall or spin it out. So you really have to be so perfect on all your throttle, steering, and brake applications, otherwise you'll wreck. And as long as you don't wreck the car, chances are everyone else will. So you'll just pass them and get a good top 3 or hopefully a win.
Yeah, I value my safety rating and iRating, so I'm going to be sitting that one out. Me and dirt don't get along very well.
Also, next weekend, the NASCAR B Series goes road course racing again, this time at Road America.
Yeah, we had a good finish a few weeks ago at Watkins Glen. I was able to finish third. We should also have Kevin, I believe, who's going to be joining us this time at Road America. I know he really likes the track, and he's one of the better road course drivers out of all of us on the team. So it'd be interesting to have him along with us, and maybe he can give us some insight and help us out with the setup a bit.
I like Road America. This past weekend I did a endurance race there in some of the Camel GT cars, so I'm really familiar with the track. It's still fresh in my mind, so I'm hoping to get another good finish with the Xfinity cars there. For the road courses, I have the Oculus Rift, and it really helps because you can look into a corner, you can kind of look ahead in the racetrack, where on a monitor you're sort of forced to look at the focal point of where the monitor's at.
So how is VR working for you? Does it really add to the immersion, or are there any disconnects that may take away from the experience?
It does add to the immersion. Like, every detail is full scale, 1-to-1. So if I look over, there's a full scale seat next to me, or the steering wheel. Like, I look like a real person inside the car. One of the downsides is the lenses are a little small, so you see black outlines throughout your vision, and the screens are a little close to your face, so you can see all the pixels. But after you're racing, you really don't notice that. It kind of just looks like you have goggles on. So it's not an issue. The only issue for me is my computer's a little on the low end. So at a track like Bristol this past weekend, I was only able to run it at 45 frames per second, which made it really nauseating because everything was getting warped or everything was blurring, and it was really hard to focus. But after 150 laps, I really didn't notice it, and I was going for the win.
What about like the screen door effect? Because I think that's the one thing that's stopping me from going to VR. I need that visual clarity. If I don't have that, I'm afraid it's gonna really kind of put me outside of that immersion factor.
The screen door effect isn't horrible. It's definitely noticeable, especially like if I focus on it right now, I can see all the little pixels all over my screen. But if you focus on the details of track or the details of your car, you really don't notice it as much as when you focus on there's a screen door effect. Like, I just have to see these pixels. Like, they're only there if you make them there. That makes sense. Like, your brain can ignore them.
Do you know if the HTC Vive is any better, or is it about the same with in regards to the screen door?
The Vive is pretty much the same. The only advantage the Vive would really have over the Oculus is it's a lot brighter. The Oculus, everything seems a lot darker, and when the lenses get dirty, it almost seems like you're racing at night during the day.
What about that Pimax 4K? I know the real downside. Well, there's two downsides that I heard to that. One is that there's no positional tracking. Yeah. You can turn your head left and right, but as far as like moving it forwards and backwards, tilting it side to side, it's not gonna render that in game. That's one downside. However, there was another one that I read that there's kind of like a box or like a circle in the center of the screen where everything is clear, and then your peripheral vision is blurry. Have you heard anything about that? Because I don't know. I don't know these things. It's just going off of what I read, and I'm still interested in trying VR. It's just I want to make sure I kind of get one that's going to work the best for me if I even decide to get it.
I wouldn't get the Pimax just because of positional tracking. That's a huge letdown that it doesn't have that, because really being able to turn your head left, right, like tilting it side to side and looking ahead and like leaning back, that's a huge part of it. Like in an open wheeler, I'm able to sort of reach my head around the cockpit of the car and look around me, like the Skip Barber cars. That's my favorite part of doing it, where I can turn the spotter off and be my own spotter.
Couldn't you like use another third party for that though? Like
Track
Track
IR.
IR? Yeah.
I believe Steve Myers actually did that with the old
The DK
developer.
one.
Yeah, he attached Track IR to his head because he didn't like the tracking of it.
Yeah,
And
that's an
for
option.
the blurring around your peripheral vision, the Oculus does have that a little bit, but it's not noticeable unless you focus on it. Like, you more should be focusing straight ahead and just letting your peripherals be your peripherals and turning your head instead of your eyes. That's the
Gotcha.
hardest part about getting used to an Oculus versus a monitor.
All right, well, thanks everyone for checking out our podcast. This is our first episode, so we're keeping it short for now, but be sure to check again next week for the latest episode.